Eridus, what a planet, huh? I mean, personally, I would say that the planet is freaking awesome. But, that's probably because I'm one of those fools who thinks it's funny to make fun of those who own it. If you've ever seen this impressive, gloomy shadow of a man of steam, not only would you probably have a loss of hope, but you probably most likely die of fear. And just to clarify, Man of Steam is a ship, first rate, that can fly with its propellers and steam machines. They're not quite elegant, but I mean, that's why I like them so much. They remind me so much of me. Good talk, I say and knock down the corpse lying next to my bed. I peer my head up from the bed, still in a cell. My feet slowly find their way into the cold, plate floor. My hands search around, dizzy. The dimming lit room combined with the steam come from the steam machine has made this cell a torture chamber. A hacking cough escaped my lips. My searching hand grabbed onto the bar containing me. They won't hold me for long.
Hey, jackass.
A female voice chirps in the background. Wearing my long coat along with my steam-powered revolvers, they fire with not only pure steam, but with black powder. This practically means I disintegrate my enemies, if I do hit. Hell of a lot better than those fancy muskets that the military forces use. But back to the point. The eyes of mine stride across to the female's figure. She was dangling the key. "What are you doing here?" my voice asked in the most lackadaisical manner one could imagine. I mean, I don't think I've processed the situation yet. Why is she not in a cell? Oh, that's what's going on. She's gonna let me out now. Give me my long coat and my revolvers. Then we can steal this ship.
How's it hanging?
She asked flamboyantly and moved over, leaning against the cell, her lips curled in a joking smile. What a bitch. "I'll push dog on you." My voice broken off. She interrupted me.
Captain, Dog is a fat cat who can barely move. You also named it Dog.
She dangled the key right in front of me, and I reached out to grab it. My arm is too big to get through the bars. Another arrogant chuckle rises from the woman's lips as she pushes the key into the lock and whispers,
"You like it when it twists, right, Captain?"
I feel the cheek of mine slowly balled into a big red mess. That was lewd, or was it? What was she implying? I must have the biggest upside-down smile right now, because I'm not amused. The cell door slowly opens. It wasn't locked? So, she unlocked it, moved back, and showed me the key, to fool me in thinking she had control.
Always check the...
She tries to say, but I quickly manage to interrupt. Door? Her lips purse down, and she pulls up one of the revolvers, pushing it over to me in a small movement. My hand grabs it and pulls back the custom-made grip. She isn't pretty, but she'll do. The gun, that is. My eyes scour over the chrome-looking metal, mined from the lowest depths of the giant ocean. The metal glistening almost hypnotically in the dimly lit room. I bring it up slowly and aim it forward, looking down the chamber before grabbing hold of the pump on the front of it. Good. It's filled with water. A good 6 shots ready to fire with each press of my thumb. To activate the hydraulic pump exquisitely engineered to the base of the barrel. The bronze pressure tube forming around the revolver are assurance that the revolver doesn't vaporize my face when used. Probably. Point the muzzle down and hold it with both of my hands, creeping my shoulders up to make myself a smaller target as I move. The blonde-haired, coat-wearing scoundrel that is my first mate starts moving along with me, although she is holding the revolver in one hand and aiming it into the air, her hips soaring from side to side whilst moving. I don't approve of the use of her sexuality to win in some situations, but I also see how it is a worthy asset to not only recruitment, but also negotiations. Upon reaching the door, I bring my leg up and kick it open. The guard who was standing at the door quickly turns around and opens his mouth to shout, but my shot is already aligned. Revolver in hand, I fire straight into his skull. With a sharp hiss of steam, he is blown back against the gloomy corridor wall and almost immediately starts to disintegrate, his skin melting further and further down with the crackling of boiling blood. the smell of burning blood now assailing my nostrils.
I forgot how distasteful your weapons are, Captain.
My first mate says. I simply nod at her, my voice pulling itself down into a full baritone glory. Release the prisoners. Give me my other revolver. Tell them to serve me, because I set them free, and they have a debt to pay. The woman responds with a meek-sounding eep. I start walking in the opposite direction of the warden's cabin.
Where are you going?
She asks, a hint of worry in her tone. To clear the deck. She reaches her hand forward and places the other revolver in my loose hand. I pull both of them up, so they're both pointed at the ceiling. I pump the revolver to hear that satisfying hissing sound of liquid pressurizing against the inside of the metal. Upon reaching the stairway, the alarm starts wailing. I hear two people rushing down the stairs. They try to increase their movement to a sprint, but it's too late for them to spot me, and I immediately pull both of my revolvers up to shoot them both in the chest. They strain and cry loudly till their hearts finally melt. My feet carry me up to the deck. The people above the deck must have heard the commotion. Upon reaching the door, I kick it open and met with the smell of the open air, see the clouds, and the unfortunate sight of the remainder of the crew walking around in their red coat uniforms, carrying boxes and tightening knots. All movement stops. As I walk out to the deck, 50 opponents, 2 revolvers, oh boy. I move over to the center. They slowly circle me. A childish trick. Ha! None of these fools look particularly intelligent. I figured I could beat them all if I'm clever enough. I drop my revolvers and pull up both of my fists, cracking them. I'll gladly fight both of your best fighters at the same time. At very least I could buy some time. That much is certain. The group of soldiers begin laughing. They don't believe me. They never do. I love getting myself into these situations. It gives me something to reminisce about. Something to remember. Something I could tell my children when I finally decide to settle down. Whenever that may be, given the fact that I am a public enemy. At least for now. One huge man is pushed into the ring they are forming around me, and I feel the colors start to drain from my face. Maybe a hand-to-hand was a bad idea. He's nearly twice my size. His biceps are the size of my head. In fact, I would go so far to call him a titan. My mouth is wide. The second person comes into the ring, a shorter, long-haired man with seemingly Eastern heritage. The smaller man slowly walks forward and pulls up his leg, doing a circle with it to throw off my parry, and then coming in to strike his knee into my stomach. I need to end this quick. My digits clench around his leg while his foot is planted in my stomach, and I immediately try to pull him close, send my hands to grab his head to jerk it to the side, with a loud, satisfying crunch. He was easy to defeat, even if it was fighting dirty. The body of the shorter man falls onto the ground with a thud, and then the Titan releases a roar. Shit. My head just managed to look up towards him, but he grabs me around my abdomen and lifts me up onto his shoulders, both of his hands holding me like a rag doll. Our movements stop up as I'm pushed up against the metal door from which I came out onto the deck, my senses dulled and dizzy. I can just make out the clinking of swords, the firing of muskets, the full-scale battle. I don't have much time to think on it before the Titan launches his massive fist down, sending it straight into my cheek. I feel the warm sensation of blood running from my mouth, and the pulsating pain from the huge bruise forming on my cheek. I feel the floor underneath me disappear, and my collar tighten up. My hands claw out, try to grab at the arm that's holding me. I could see the entire battle behind the now blurred out person holding my neck. The prisoners are winning, but if I don't survive, I can't be the captain. Damn it! The beautiful sound of my revolvers being pumped rings through my ears. She's a bit late, but I'll take it. I extended my hand and the big metal revolver flies past the head of the giant and straight into my hand, and I aim it at the side of his head. I pull the trigger once and a blast of steam rips straight through that Titan's face, covering the main mass in a new gruesome paint job. The limp body falls to the ground, the Titan's grip releasing my collar. I myself hit the ground, but I stand. My first mate? What a woman. I look in the direction my revolver was thrown from, and there she stands, with the prisoners and convicts behind her, all standing victoriously with muskets, swords, knives, shanks, any weapon they could find even. Her blonde hair is loosened and curled. Her defined cheekbones aid my attraction to her. Unfortunately, I have to keep it platonic for now. She starts walking with that signature sway in her hips, while her right hand unclips the revolver holstered from her waist and slides them to me. My hands reach down. I pull up the holster and tie it onto my belt. Feeling the satisfying click, the revolvers roll in my hand as I smacked it straight onto the holster. Well, let's go to the cabin, friends. Please clean up here. The captain's cabin. The only place where you'll find a bigger piece of scum than yourself. The captain of the ship, the Valkyrie, is Alex Hartkill. Known for his numerous war crimes, the Valkyrie was an incarcerator. A first-rate steam of war capable of some extreme damage. But I'll just be using it for transport. Not like Alex used it for much else. Slavery? Huh, disgusting. Upon reaching the bottom of the ship, I see a big jeweled adorned door right in front of me. He really made it obvious. My first mate bulges in front of me and opens the door before me. I don't know why, but she's always been like this, protective of me. It's almost like she's like... Wait, musket? The massive ball flying out of the tube smacks against my blonde-haired companion, and she flies back, hitting against the stairway and out of sight. A long-range weapon used at such a close range would tear anyone to shreds. My eyes strayed back, glaring with rage at the person holding the musket, Alex. He is wearing a two-piece suit. His hands move up to the handle of the musket to try and pump it, but my legs carry me faster than his unwieldy weapon can react, and I feel my legs crushing against his stomach. He isn't fighting. He is skinny and scrawny, like a goddamn skeleton. How fitting for a dead man. My hand pushes itself instinctively to his throat and grabs it, and I pull him up with one arm. I realize now that my hands are trembling, my eyes more focused than ever, and my jaw clenched to the point of agony in the roots of my teeth. I take a moment to look around the cabin, filled with gold, a desk, and a literal throne. There's a blue tricorn hat on the desk, adorned with large feathers brushing across its side. If he likes gold that much, he can drown in it. My trembling hands and my steadfast feet move him straight over to the large gold pile and smash him into it. The coins clink loudly as they crush against Hartkill's body, blood already beginning to erupt from the back of his head. I turn him around so his face is against the coins instead, and I begin pushing until I carve into the gold coins so that they form around and over him, so I can bury him alive in all his wealth. He won't get out of this. He would not have to begin with. But this time, I'll make sure. I hold fast until the man stops moving completely. I take a step back and stare at the formidable bump in the already large gold pile. I will remember to remove him after this. I turn to look towards the doorway and see my first mate, now laying at the top of the staircase and looking at me as her body recovers from the attack, the gaping hole in her now exposed midsection closing itself as bloody sinews extend and reach out to one another to reattach themselves. Most would probably wonder how she survived, but it's the same reason she always walks first into a conflict. In front of me, and protects me with her life. She's very hard to kill. A genetic freak with extremely powerful regenerative abilities. Come to think of it, my entire voyage revolves around her now. She's the being I need to cure. I promised her that I would find a cure, but now that's delayed because she decided to get hit. We have to let her rest because I can't trust the convicts or prisoners, unfortunately. My leg carries me over to her. My hands instinctively push under her thighs and back to pull her up in a princess carry. She's impressively weak in this condition. Her head pushes against my upper thorax and her ear listens to my heartbeat thumping quickly. I hate seeing her get hurt. Upon reaching the deck again and opening the door with much trouble, I look around at the pirates, the men I'll serve with. They seem damaged, but dedicated. Loyal, but unsure of their own actions. My legs carry me up to the helm, so I can stand at the metal-plated railing with my first mate. I raised my voice and started talking. We lost a lot of our own today. We took a lot of theirs. Death should never be the answer, but sometimes we need to prioritize. We must look out for each other. Keep this ship living and breathing while we can.
Yeah, what he said.
Some people obnoxiously say before I finish the poor speech, Some even seemed to believe it. Awkward that I was carrying around the first mate like a princess. Others saw it as a token of me protecting the one I care for. And some saw it as a chance to gain rank and favor. Know this, we are headed through the dunes. The only place still covered in land. The only place that have animal life that isn't airborne. The only place uninhabited by humans. And we'll create a safe haven for those wronged by the injustice of our society. I lied. I'm going to use them so I can cure my first mate. And with that thought, a volley of shouts and screams came our way. Happy ones, determined and honored ones. All of these men are so desperate for hope, so desperate for approval. I should probably say sorry to them, but that will have to wait.